Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at a brand new premium ship that was just introduced, the Constellation. This is a premium Tier 8 American battlecruiser, but for the purposes of the game, is flagged as a battleship. So it takes a battleship slot, and it uses the battleship commander skill tree, and it uses battleship modules, but this is very much more like a cruiser than a battleship with some of its features. I'm going to talk through armor, maneuverability, firepower, build, and my overall impression for this ship to better empower you guys to make an informed decision whether you want to buy it or you want to fight it. Now, my camouflage is different from the base camouflage that comes with the ship. This is actually a camouflage known as Independence, and I believe the Colorado has it as well, and in-game you can buy it for about 5,000 doubloons. You don't need to buy the bundle to get the camouflage if that's what you're interested into, and clearly it looks beautiful. It's based off of the USS Constitution, the Age of Sail ship that still exists to this day, and I think Wargaming did a masterful job interpreting it for a more modern ship type like the Constellation. I really enjoy it, and I hope that we see more of this type of camouflage in the future. So this is the build that I have right now in this game on the Constellation. I really love it. Honestly, I wouldn't make a single change. It performs spectacularly, and yeah, highly recommend it. You'll note it's a battleship, and it's American, so it doesn't have access to accuracy in slot 3. That is reserved for slot 6. Since it's not a tier 9 or 10, it doesn't have access to slot 6. So instead of accuracy, I've chosen to go with the range of the main battery. And that's because the base range is about 16 or 17-ish. And that's fine with a scout aircraft, as I've chosen. But having a little bit more base range allows it to trade better with higher tier battleships. And the more range you can get, the honestly more tanky it becomes, because it is very maneuverable, and I'll get into that as well. Faster rudder shift, enhancing the maneuverability further. Concealment for the commander, incoming fire alert, faster turret traverse because we are going to be maneuvering a lot, adrenaline rush, concealment, emergency repair. It only has 3 heals base, fire prevention, yes please, and then the final skill, the 3-point AA skill that improves the priority sector and number of flak bursts. Really love this build for my battleships just in general, and the Constellation is no exception. It is very effective with this build. It has 8 406mm guns on 4 gun turrets, a sigma of 1.9. It has exceptional AA. It has amazing maneuverability. Just to paint a picture, this is a tier 8 battlecruiser that has 27mm bow and has 57 deck. It goes nearly 34 knots in the water. It has 14-15 second turret traverse, rudder shift. With the improved rudder shift module, it gets down to about 12 seconds. The Colorado, the Tier 7, is basically 22 knots in the water, 26mm bow, and not nearly anywhere close to the maneuvering potential that this ship has. And that's the difference one tier makes. One is a battlecruiser, the other is a battleship. So I really enjoyed it. However, the Citadel is punishable at medium to long range. Not really close range. It is a waterline Citadel, so you do have to dip the shells below the water if it's point blank and pray that you can penetrate the armor and into the Citadel and all that stuff. It's not really as feasible, but at medium to long range, absolutely. Fire all the time on a ship that's broadside. You will punish the Constellation like it's not even a battleship. This is definitely a ship that requires the player to maneuver to get the most out of it. If you are merely sailing broadside or sailing in a straight direction and not actively dodging, like I do all the time with incoming fire alert, you're probably not going to like this ship as much as I do. It really does shine when the player enhances it further through their action. And I really like ships like that because I feel like those ships excel when the player excels. And they suck when the player sucks. And I think that's the fairest you can ever make a ship. So I'm really happy with the presented version that we got at full release. It also has the ability to use torpedoes. These are Benson torpedoes. They're kind of situated, and you can kind of spy it on the back there, like the Graf Spee, where it is, like 1 meter away from being off the ship. Thankfully, they're launchers and not built into the hull, so the angle of fire is much more effective than that of something like the Zhao. However, since it is Benson torpedoes, it only goes 55 knots and 9.2 kilometer range, so it's not really that useful. I would say it's probably the weakest trait of the ship. It has radar though, so I'm fine with it having kind of mediocre torpedoes. I don't really need to use it, and there is the Citadel. The enemy Bismarck that you can kind of spy just in between A and B. He just Citadel us for big damage, only has 380, and that's because I did not respect him. I was trying to Citadel and knock out the Mogami. American guns work really nice for that, but I elevated the guns just a little too much, and it never dipped into the Citadel, and if it did, it overpinned. So we didn't actually kill the Mogami, we just set him up for death from someone else on my team. And of course, because this Bismarck Citadel us, we're going to present something that's much harder to Citadel, an angle, and we're going to return fire. It's American AP, it's got that nice trajectory, so you can basically use it in almost every situation. You can, of course, switch to HE if you'd like, but there's a lot of opportunity for it to drop into the superstructure or otherwise, and interesting. Looks like we've got a Vladivostok. He is showing a lot of broadside, so we're going to use our scout aircraft to get a very accurate shot on his Citadel, and hopefully it goes where we need it to go. Oh yeah, it went where it needed to go. 3 Citadels, knocked him out. Unfortunately, didn't get the kill because the game wants to laugh at us. Got him basically under 1,000 life, and he died less than a second later. This enemy Bismarck, though, he's got good aim. He is absolutely trying to punish me, and I need to respect him. You'll note the heal percentage. That is the full heal that is available. It is not as impressive as the Colorado, the North Carolina, the Iowa, or the Montana heal. It's serviceable. And if you're not taking emergency repair, it's kind of even worse because you have only 3 of those charges and it heals for less. So on a ship like the Constellation, I believe emergency repair is more valuable than, say, on a Montana because it has less charges and it heals for less overall. However, the build that I went, super tanky, it works really well, and the range makes it even harder to deal with. So we're just firing on the enemy. We're dealing with them. I would love to engage the enemy DD. That's why I switched to high explosive. Trying to line up a shot on this Benson, who is very nearly killing my friendly, and there's a mutual ram right there. Assuming that the Benson is wanting to move forward, I fire right in front of a ship. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit off, but accuracy very consistent. I was surprised because it has 57 millimeters on its deck and side of the hull. It's got the 34 knots of speed, and it's got really accurate guns. So it really does feel good. I'm really surprised. It's another win for me. So, we're dealing really well with the enemy. We got a little bit of damage. No, not damage necessarily. The shells landed near the target, but they didn't actually hit the target. So we contested A, but we didn't actually do any damage. Enemy Bismarck is trying to hide himself. This enemy Tallinn wants to fire on us, and we're just going to angle towards the shells incoming, which is very easy to do, and it's very comfortable. You don't really feel like you're falling behind on your turn ability, and the guns definitely don't. So, overall, it absolutely shines everywhere that I care. I really have enjoyed this, and I was pleasantly surprised by the experience. So we've got high explosive loaded, looking to do some damage on the Bismarck. This will be a great opportunity to show off what the high explosive is capable of doing. Note the angling makes that 380 bounce harmlessly off, whereas, just a couple minutes ago, we were full broadside, and he was able to citadel us for you know, like 15,000 damage, which of course is one of the things that I regretted in this game, and I wanted to fix that by maintaining good angle and respecting what this Bismarck can actually do, because he seems like he understands what he's doing. Once again, great angling, very hard to actually do damage unless he's locating at the superstructure. So we've got a couple fires on him. Not impressive damage, of course. AP is much better for the Americans. AP, of course, has a much higher damage output for this caliber gun. So you really want to use AP, and conveniently, the Bismarck's like, oh, you want to use some AP on my Bismarck? I'm just going to give you a full broadside. So we aim at the top of the hull, knowing that he has turtleback, not going to get a citadel. We're just going for the most damage potentially, and nearly 10,000. Not bad for a battlecruiser. Yeah. Just waiting on the enemy to fire. Obviously, the torpedoes didn't get there. Enemy aircraft carriers attacking us, which we will, of course, use our AA. And the AA really works well. It is a Tier 8 aircraft carrier, so it's equal tier. And as a Tier 8 aircraft carrier equal tier, the AA will take about 50% off the first pass and 100% off the second pass. So most of the time, I only take one attack from the aircraft carrier if he ever actually attacks us. In this situation, there's a DD that's kind of west of my position. No one is going after B. The enemy is crumbling before us. I am going to have to go after that DD because he does appear to be harassing the Lexington on my team. But I feel very confident in chasing him down because I have 3 radars, which are absolutely so great at making this feel more capable around DDs. If this is potentially the future design of an American battlecruiser line, it is a big 2 thumbs up for me. I love the maneuvering. I absolutely love the utility. I really enjoy the gun performance. It's got everything that I'm looking for in a ship. Now, I was trying to let my friendly know I'm detected, which with this build, my detection is 12.2, which is, really good. But he was obviously in range, and because he sailed over in an area that he clearly wasn't, I just was trying to give him a little bit of a clue where he could go to find him, and he eventually finds him, and we eventually get a nice broadside high explosive on him. Try to get a kill, my first kill in this game, although that Vladivostok, it was a kill in all but the name. Like, we did so much damage to him and just barely didn't. And because of the maneuvering, it is so capable of comfortably existing around torpedoes. You never feel like you're overwhelmed. You never feel like a matchup is so unfair that you don't want to even try. Everything feels like it operates very effectively, and the player skill dictates your ceiling, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. So, the enemy sent more torps. We just sped through that with our speed. It's really nice. I really like that this has so much speed. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air going from the Colorado to this, which, they effectively have the same weapon system. They just don't have anything else in common, really. Which, I like the Colorado guns, not the speed. Teammate keeping him spotted. We don't even need to use our radar. This is very easy with the carrier, but if the carrier wasn't there, we could easily get into a situation where we could deal with this because of radar. So, really, really impressed by the offering here. It doesn't feel like a ship that doesn't deserve to be available to the player base. It feels very capable, might even be overpowered. I don't know. It's too on the edge because of the player skill can dictate so much of it. But overall, 2 thumbs way up, really impressed by it. If you're looking to punish it, broadside and pick on its recovery. Those are the 2 things where it is lacking. But it is not lacking in other phases. So really highly encourage you guys, consider this if you're into this type of play style. because you will enjoy it. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you dislike, of course. You can subscribe to my channel. We do World of Warship content. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you and have a wonderful day.